Alright, now that we're back in gold, let's start Dolphin Island. Chapter 3, Totem Quest. I have to find 6 totems to bring the world back into balance. Those totems are represented by 6 noble creatures. Dolphin, monkey, seagull, lizard, polar bear, and whale. Now we are headed for Dolphin Island, since the wise man Guro claims that the first totem is hidden somewhere there. Alright, Dolphin Island. It's very lovely here. So amazing how the ocean glitters under the sun. And somewhere here the first totem is awaiting us. Send scouts to explore the territory and look for something that could help us in our search. And don't forget about those precious gems. That's very much a developer line right there. Alright, so on this island there are going to be no enemies that we have to fight. Not one bit. So really, actually, now I think about it, building a house isn't even necessary. We just need Scout Lodge, and then we'll have to build some other buildings later. But I want to bring up something kind of interesting about this island, and this is going to be something that's going to be a monotonous mention throughout the entire series, but it's worth mentioning here because this island is vastly different compared to the original. The island in the original looked like kind of like the square with a hole in the middle, and here it's very, very different. So we're gonna explore the island real quick just to show you the general shape of the island, because it is probably the biggest change out of all the islands in terms of its redesign. So we're gonna have some collectibles here, you know, just some shells. Towers can be built in any suitable place. You do not need to be close to other buildings for construction. So that's also something I completely forgot to mention when it came to building buildings with the barracks, is that you only have a certain amount of range away from your current buildings that you can build. Huts and towers are the two big exceptions. They can be built anywhere, and so you can kind of use them as like a forward base, because like, you know, you can't build a scout lodge out here, but if you place the tower like right here, you could build like a scout lodge right there, so that way you could like set up a forward base and stuff. So give me a moment. Alright, sorry about that. Just got disturbed for a moment. Something came up, that's all. So tower in each tower, dolphin statue are at each island. I can't talk. Sorry, we can observe much more from the top of the tower, but keep in mind that constructing many towers takes a lot of time. This is what I was referring to when I said things take more time to construct, but I don't think it actually applies to towers, strangely enough. So yeah, like this island here, its shape is like that of a donut. And as you'll see here soon, once we construct more, or start constructing towers, you're gonna see some lands out in these corners, and it's just so visually different to what we, getting distracted apparently took the thought process out of me. Yeah, alright, Ruku. So we shall do scout out the areas and find more guide stones. Those inscriptions should give us directions to where the totems are located. Okay, cool. Tower on the edge of the land. You can sometimes see on the coast. Yep. But yeah, no, just the islands are just so very different compared to the original. That it's just, I had to mention it because I think that's the biggest example of an island change or an island redesign in the entire game. And it's not a bad one necessarily. It makes it nice and short. So we have a puzzle. This puzzle right here is actually completely independent of what we're seeking here. So I'm gonna just like, you click on a tile, and while it activates its own tile, it does knock out other tiles, or it activates others as well. When I first did this, yeah, when I first tried doing this, when I started playing the game again, this took me, to be honest, I really don't know how long. So, the method that you may want to try when doing this, because I may just end up cutting to when I get this done, is you want to try and get the middle to have like these outer areas, like northeast, southwest, your cardinal directions to be empty with it or full with it, or you just try and find the slot that works based on what you click, which obviously is easier said than done. So you just gotta fiddle around with it for a long period of time. Admittedly, I don't think I'm gonna get it, but we'll see. Like, I could do that, but now there's that, so try like, okay, cool. That's the I was not expecting to do that. Okay, so we got an ancient coin. These are going to be pretty important later on for certain things, and we'll talk about collectibles after this. In the meantime, I'm just going to collect some more shells. I just realized the totem's right there. Okay. We're not going to collect the totem just yet. There's a couple more things we can do on this island. For example, there's some treasure here. We can't do anything about this for the time being, and in fact we won't be able to do anything with it for a long time. So the only other thing we could still do here is collect 8 shells. Oh shit. Classic, where the hell is the last shell moment, you know? Oh, okay. Over here. Because we still have this chest right here, and if we bring 8 shells to it, then we can get the item inside. And this item is a really good one. The Diadem of Courage. Fighters of the Hawk Tribe are indisputably brave, but the bearer of this relic will fortify their souls even in the toughest, or even in the face of toughest of foe. You know, I don't remember what that does, but we'll read it here in a moment. So, you know, this is a pretty simple island. You just build towers. In this case, you just build a tower in that corner, and we got our first totem. Oh, I know this item. It's one of the totems. A great dolphin. My greetings to you, Uruku, as you now have first to 6 totems. And yeah, that's a really simple island. You know, like, you know, the first island, Total Island, is pretty short, but this might also arguably be the shortest. So if we go into the treasury, you can see here that we have a lot to collect. As you can see here, we have the Tear of Heaven, which is our most important item, and we'll still be, we still have things to do with it later on. Gems will show all throughout here. There's so much more gems here in this version than there was in the original, because there are like 10 new islands that were just added. Your totems will be in the center here, circling this, and the Diadem of Courage means our fighters will deal 20. Will make our fighters deal 20% more damage. That's huge for early game, considering that our only source of combat, or our only units for combat right now, are fighters. In the More tab, there's even more items to collect. This ancient coin we found here is going to be 1 of 8. There is going to be a lot of things to find throughout this game, and there's going to be a lot of items we can't get right away. So we'll have to come back for them later. But for now, we're going to move on to Monkey Island. Chapter 4. Shade appears. Once I had my hand on the totem of the dolphin, the Tear of Heaven started to pulse, and now I sense a strange feeling inside me. It feels like my eyes can see more and the world looks brighter overall. I don't know where the next totem is, but somehow the Tear of Heaven whispers to me that our path leads to Monkey Island. Alright. Bad news! Our people spotted a large number of hostile creatures coming this way. We've just arrived, but we have absolutely no time to relax. To withstand attack, we have to protect our settlement promptly. Hurry up and build a tower and a barracks. Usually at the start of each level, or at the start of a number of levels, you'll just unlock something for free. And obviously that's been the case throughout the entirety of this game so far. But starting now, it's going to be pretty prominent where you just unlock things just for the sake of unlocking things in game progression. So in this case here, we've unlocked the Hunter's Camp. This is what the Scout Lodge unlocks or allows later on. And so we'll have to build a Scout Lodge first before we can build that. But more importantly right now is getting a barracks up and getting a tower. Just want to make sure that our area is nice and safe, because if Guro or Aruku dies, that's it. Level failed. You have to start from scratch and all over again. Which is a huge bummer because, like, sometimes levels can go on for quite a long time. And so, just losing all that progress does suck, but that's also kind of the nature of these games to begin with. So now that we've done that, we can get ourselves a Scout Lodge going. Let's see here. Oh, well, okay, I guess... Boy, I'm really good at, timing these, guide stones, huh? Hunters use spears. Alright. We build this camp after you build a Scout Lodge. Yep, logic dictates that, that's the case for one reason or another. Hunters are skilled in setting traps. Once sprung, they can become deadly for your fortuneless enemies. So yes, hunters are interesting because not only are they our first ranged unit, they also set down traps, which more often than not enemies aren't going to be really walking into, but they can be really powerful if you've got enough hunters, because they're also an AoE effect. And we might even be able to see it here. Oh, and I should also mention, towers are like also a form of defense in combat. I never mentioned that on the last island because it was not prevalent, but towers are also like one of our primary forms of defense besides our military. And speaking of towers, we're going to place one right here because if you learn from the last island, you'll sometimes see just like coasts that have like destroyed looking buildings. Anytime you see that, you're going to want to place a tower there, because usually it's an indicator showing that if you build a tower there, you'll be able to see far-off coasts. So while our troops can verily defend our area just fine, thanks to the diadem of courage we just got in the last... Holy crap, that's a lot! Yeah, we'll be able to defend this area just fine, thanks to the diadem. Could we get some extra manpower? Yeah, probably. So I'll definitely get up another barracks. And yeah, we can now go explore the island. Fungi rule over. Okay. That's just the game being the game. Something that's also going to become pretty common throughout these games or throughout these islands. Okay, thanks, Aruku. We've met a villager from another tribe. He says he comes from a settlement of the friendly monkey tribe nearby, and they're suffering from attacks as well. We have to replenish our forces and start an expedition to get to their village and help them. So, if we look on the map here, we'll see here that, yeah, we've discovered this little village down here. We'll get to that in due time, but for now, I want to mention that after killing that thorn flower, enemies pretty commonly throughout this game will drop items to that you can collect to do specific puzzles, objectives, etc. They're going to be it's going to be a pretty common thing, and sometimes I've had them glitch on me before, so it's it could be a double-edged sword. But for the most part, they've worked pretty well in my favor. They've actually like not had issues glitching and whatnot. So while we just kind of brute force our way through the island here, I kind of want to talk about how, like, or trying to, like, research and find information on this game online. Because there's really not a whole lot of info. And on top of that, like, it's a very underground game. It's obscure because it's not really well known. And so, you know, because of that, finding information for it online is a little difficult. Okay, free item. I forgot about that. The Pendant of Nature, Nature Force. With this item, the Earth itself will assist you in construction. From now on, sometimes you complete a building at practically the same moment that you have thought about it. This is easily one of the best items in the game because it's a 7% chance to automatically construct a building once you place it. As I was saying, yeah, trying to find anything about this game due to its obscurity is, like, pretty difficult. However, it's pretty oppressive as well, because apparently there's a, like, tower stereo thing that's also called a totem tribe. And so, whenever I try searching anything up about the game, I get that. Which, sucks, because, like, you know, I'm just trying to find... Give me images of Totem Tribe, and then the fucking stereo pops. I'm like, that's not what I need. That's not what I need. I'm looking for things about the game. And frankly, you know, there's really not too much to talk about the game when it comes to research. Because, like, most of the information I need and want to learn about it already comes from the games themselves. And more so specifically from, like, the differences between the first and second game. And I think that's really the most important thing that I need to, like, research anything interesting about the game. But, yeah, no, it's a little bit of a nuisance. The hunters attack from a distance, neatly throwing their sharp spears. They cannot hit flying targets. That'll be a thing that comes up later in the game. Not right now, because it has no reason to. So yeah, we're just gonna, like, move our forces down here, just gonna go and continue exploring. Another thing to mention with this island in particular is that this island also got a redesign. It's a pretty different change. The main reason for it is because there are some like extra things that were added in this version compared to the original. So it makes sense for the redesign, but at the same time, it's like this island had us pushed onto the left side, and we still go south, but we're on the left side instead of the right side of the map, as seen here on the mini-map. So now that we're here, I completely glossed over his text. Oops. You can see that this shade has appeared. Who or what is that? What kind of creature is this strange shade that is watching us? I've never seen anything like that before. I sense the tear of heaven starting to pulse again. So, we're going to be barraged by a bunch of enemies. And, he drops that. Now I think about it, why does he just drop that? That's a little goofy. As you can see here, the monkey tribe joined us, so now we can use any and all their buildings for our own leisure. As you can see here, we've got a bunch of different towers. We'll get to this, like, much later on, but note that this is also a great opportunity for you to learn how to repair buildings. Simply put, all you do is just repair them, just by clicking on them and then clicking the repair button. You know, nothing special. As we progress through the game, I'll be talking about these towers a bit more often, or I'll talk about more. I can't talk right now. I'll be talking more about these towers in greater detail, and what I think of them and their practical use cases, because not all the towers are good at everything, and they all have their own different use cases. Now that the shade is gone and the swarms of monsters are stopped, the people of the people of the monkey tribe are safe. As a token of our gratitude, we grant you the totem of the monkey. And with that, we beat this island. However, we're not done here just yet. We still have a couple things that are in our inventory that we want to get rid of. First and foremost, we are going to give Mr. Nartaz, which, believe it or not, is I think the only time his name is actually ever mentioned. We're going to give him the monkey head. Unbelievable! What dark times! The piece you found belongs to the sacred statue of the Great Monkey. Now it is my duty as chief to visit our old homeland, the Liana Island, and see what has happened to the statue. So, we'll do that soon. But first and foremost, we want to send our troops over this way, because there's still a lot more to this island left to explore. This is kind of a weird case where, like, a majority of the island doesn't have to be explored to, like, beat it. Because normally you end up exploring most, if not all, parts of an island when playing these levels, but this is definitely an interesting exception. We have this thing here, which we can't do anything about for the time being, and we won't be able to for a good while. But as you can see up here, there's just a lot of thorn flowers. Kind of a stupid amount, to be honest. But it does make sense, because there's this chest here, click on it, 9 chestnuts to unlock this chest. And of course, there's 8, which obviously leads me to assume that the last thorn flower is down here. It would be nice if units moved faster, but admittedly that's just how it is for the time being, so I'm just going to continue on, not send the scouts over that way. And I got a scout killed. That's going to be a common trend throughout this game, don't worry about that. Watch it be this guy that has the chestnut. I wouldn't be surprised. Oh, never mind. Okay, cool. I'm just gonna kill that last one just cause. There we go. Get the gem there. And in this chest, another ancient coin. And that's everything we could do on Monkey Island for now. There are still more things to do later on, but for now, this is all we can do. And the game just kind of, tells you that. But, with that, I think I'm going to end it off there, because now we have 2 islands to explore. And so next time, we're going to head off to Liana Island, the first of the extra islands that was added in the gold version, and our first non-story required island. But with that, I'd like to thank you guys so much for watching today's episode of Totem Tribe Gold. And in the next episode, it'll be Liana Island. With that, I'd like to bid you guys farewell. Bye-bye.